I think you have to love what you do. If you don't love what you do, you're not going to be successful. And I loved what I did. I did real estate. I went in early. I always loved sports. I would have loved to be any kind. I'm not a bad golfer, right? Always started. You have to do something you love. If you don't do what you love, you're most likely not going to be successful. And you know, you're going to have a lot of people, your parents included, they're going to be saying, don't do that, don't do that. And you have to listen to them. They're wise. They've been around. They've seen. And sometimes, and I tell people, sometimes they go into a business where basically you can't be successful. You know, nobody's successful. If you can get away from that, get away from it, if you can. But you have to make sure that you do something that you love. Try to go into something that you love that can be a good business. So, you know, a lot of people go into businesses that don't work, are just not good.
So when you're in New York City, like one of the most competitive places in the world, how do you stand out as a young man? How did you stand out? What did you do? And then how do you stay relevant in that environment that's so vicious?
So when I was young, I wanted to, well, my father built in Brooklyn and Queens, the boroughs, and he did a great job. He was a very strong guy, but a good guy, a guy with a tremendous heart, but he was strong, very powerful type of personality. And he built single family housing, whatever he built, but he'd save the nails and the sawdust and the chips of wood, and he'd take them and sell them. I mean, it's like extreme, but he was very extreme. I'll give you a quick story. So we have apartment buildings, and I walked to my father's desk in Brooklyn. This is a long time, I was young. And there's a picture of a roach, a cockroach, on a can, like a paint can, a 5-gallon paint can, and it's sitting on his desk. I said, Dad, what the hell is that? The cockroach was turned upside down, dead. And it said, the name of the product was Bye Bye Roach. And my father said, you know, this stuff is the greatest stuff we've ever used, but it's too expensive. I don't like it. So I'm sending it up to your uncle at MIT. They're going to analyze it. He's going to send it back and tell me what ingredients are in. I said, what are you doing, Dad? He said, I can save $4 a gallon. I say, Pop, is it really worth it? He said, yeah, it's worth it. That's the way you make money. And to a certain extent, you know, it's not penny wise. You got to save the pennies. You got to be, that's a great thinking. So he wants to take something that's expensive, that's good, and send it up to a laboratory at MIT, find out what the ingredients are, because he can save a couple of dollars a gallon.
How important do you think it is for this audience to have real estate as part of their portfolio?
I think real estate, Grant, is got to be part of a portfolio. It's been, first of all, there are tax advantages, depreciation. A lot of people, you'll look at a project and you'll have a loss. Now, not good for your ego, but it made money, but you don't pay tax, and it shows after depreciation you have a loss. A lot of times they'll analyze my stuff. They'll say, well, you lost money. I say, yeah, I lost money. But you're not losing money. In fact, that loss, you can carry it over to other jobs where you're making a profit. So real estate, from the standpoint of tax benefits, has been great. But I love the real estate business. I love the creativity of real estate. And I think I always will. Even as president, I'd say, boy, that's a great site for a building, right?
You still see sites and like, that's a good location.
Everything I do. I mean, I see so much. I'll look at something, and that's what it was in my blood from the time I'm very young. I loved the creative process of building. Inflation has always been very good for real estate. But unfortunately, at the end, the whole thing pops. Okay, that's the bad part, you know. And you haven't seen that yet, and hopefully you won't. Hopefully changes will be made, substantial changes, and you won't see that. But inflation is a good thing for real estate, not a bad thing for
Very
real estate,
good.
okay? So I have to tell you, you know, this inflation, but it's bad for other parts of the country, and it's very bad. Ultimately, it explodes. You know, inflation is wonderful until it all explodes, and you got to be careful of that. You have to watch it.
What do you think about 10X America?
I like it. I like it.
I mean, you're the master. What do you think? Does it work?
You know, I just said to Grant, I said, you know, that hat looks very familiar to me.
It's a complete knockoff.
But that is a handsome hat, isn't it nice?
Let's go!
That's it, let's go!
Because you have experience in things I do not have experience in. Like, if I ever ran, I mean, you know, I'm 64. I just turned 64, so I got it.
How old are you?
64.
You gotta be kidding. But you do look good. You're 64. That's amazing.
Thank you very
much. So you
much.
keep doing
From
what
one
you're doing.
handsome man to
Well,
another.
keep doing what you're doing, right? That's great.
Thank you. So, what advice would you give me?
So if you wanted to, first of all, you love what you do. I don't know that you'd love the other, because you do this and everyone adores you. You got these great articles that I read all about you. I read so many articles. I just wanted to see about this guy. You know, I know him a little bit from the standpoint of sports. Then we got to know each other, but I never really studied what he did. You've done such an incredible job. Number one, I mean, what you've done is so, and you've made a lot of people rich. You know what you've done? Because he really has, you know, what he does, and there are some others that have done a good job. I don't think like you, but you've made people rich. You've made them happy. You've taken care of medical, you know, I mean, people that would not have had the courage to go out and do, whether it's in real estate or other things, they wouldn't have had the courage to go out without what you do. I think if you would, first of all, you would automatically have my vote. I don't know if you're a Democrat or a Republican. I don't care. You have my complete and total endorsement. You know my endorsement, by the way?
Bam!
My endorsement. Now he's going to run. Now he's going to run as a super liberal, right? And I'll say, that's terrible. I endorsed him. That's not good. But you know, it's very interesting. You would be such a great politician because you have the way. You need the way.
Last question. What is the term? This is a bit promotional too. I'll just set you up on it. What is the term? You don't mind that, do you? I love you, man.
I have no idea what this is, but
What
this is going to be
does
a
the term 10X mean to you?
Well, making our country and your lives and your businesses 10 times better, right?
Exactly. Ladies and gentlemen, 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump. Come on. Right there. Let's go.